I just like to point out, this is all taxpayers' money. It's a race to the bottom. It's your money that's taken off you and your wages, and it's your kids, for your future, that are going to go out there looking for work, won't have these terms and conditions. Just in general, what's going on right across the county councils. Example, subcontractors getting a lot of our work, and in turn then the subcontractors are hiring on young lads, not paying them the proper rates, not giving them holiday pay, or not giving them pension pay, undermining everything that unions have worked for over the years, built up for people's basic human rights. So we're down here to support these guys. It's happening right across the board. Contractors getting rich, looking after people in at Christmas, stuff like that going on, and in the meantime whittling away all our rights, i.e. our overtime, everything that we've worked up for. And don't forget, the only reason that a lot of us do overtime is the wages is so small. And by the way, our pension is terribly small as well at the end of it. It's not even a massive pension that we get, but the wages are so small, we sacrifice our weekends to come in, not because we don't like the job, but because we have to build up our smaller wages. That's why a lot of lads do overtime. So they're trying to bring us down to flat flexi time.
So are they trying to replace you with contract workers to avoid paying due wages?
Without a shadow. The master plan is the less pensions for them. It all comes down to greed. And much wants more, but the contractors are brought in. Now the contractors make big money out of it. They're definitely bringing in these lads to undermine work and cheaper for them in the long run. I just like to point out, this is all taxpayers' money. It's a race to the bottom. It's your money that's taken off you and your wages, and it's your kids, for your future, that are going to go out there looking for work, won't have these terms and conditions. That's why we're down here today.
Over the last 12 months, I have sat with 6 different men who have broken down. There are at least 2 of them who have confided in me that they have contemplated suicide. And that is the level that we're talking about here. There are 3 categories that I notice that are particularly targeted. Number 1 is activists. Number 2 is people who display high moral standards and are prepared to stand up for their colleagues. Number 3 is people that are vulnerable. But the main point that I want to tell you about in this is that this is a strategy. It is designed to divide and conquer. And it is a very effective strategy. And it hasn't emerged in the last year or 2. It's been in the making for at least a decade. And we have to insist that that code of practice, which was actually changed in 2021, nobody heard about it. Nobody noticed that the one element that you could possibly get some justice through, which was that there was an element in it which did allow for an external independent investigator. That was taken out, imagine.
I came here today because I do street cleaning in Kilkenny, and during the pandemic we were cut our allowances. We got nothing as such, we were out getting paid the same as everyone else was staying at home. We clean the streets, pick up all the rubbish, the tissues, the masks, people around us coughing and sneezing all over the place, and we're out there. I have an actual underlying condition, and I'm still out there doing the work,
And you say your allowances were cut. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, it's basically washing allowance, early risings and all that. I mean, we have to wash down the machine every day, wash, disinfect it. And during the pandemic, that was done twice a day. Had to be done. And our engineers turned around and told us, no, we're not paying you to do that.
Why did they say that to you?
Don't know. Just turned around and said, no, we're not going to pay to you. So when everyone else is at home getting paid, we were getting the same money for going out and doing the work that no one else would do.
And what did you do in response to that?
We wrote a letter in asking why we're not getting paid, and we never got a response to it.
And you said you have underlying conditions, but you continued on at work. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I have chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is a lung disease, and at the beginning of this pandemic, people that were susceptible were told they could stay at home. I stayed on and served in the community, like our people working in the shops did, like the nurses did, like the care staff did. The people in the community that were scared like anybody else, but we needed to keep things going. We needed to kind of band together and make sure that the community got things that they needed. We needed to keep the streets clean, we needed to keep the parks clean, keep the bins emptied. So I stayed on and I worked through it, and unfortunately, as I said, my missus's father passed away, Lord have mercy on him, and that's where all of our family had contracted this illness.
So what happened to you when your father-in-law passed away?
I was on compassionate leave. I had informed my supervisors and my foreman, and I found out later that they had put me down as unauthorised absence rather than on compassionate leave. The lady that fills out the wages offered her apologies for that, as she was instructed to do that. And I didn't get paid properly for my own compassionate leave, I think, until a fortnight later. So as you can imagine, at a traumatic time like that, in a time of grief, that your employer is just doing these. As I said, I was medically certified and diagnosed with long COVID syndrome. I also got pneumonia and sepsis multiple times, and I still haven't received my appropriate pay for this special leave payment that was for anyone that had contracted this illness. Unfortunately, that's the way it still stands today.